Florida State gets back on the winning track with a 38-17 victory against Wake Forest. It was a game that started off really ugly. It started off like most of Florida State's season so far. FSU was down 10-0. Then they get the Brian Burns sack on 4th down. They get a touchdown. Stanford Samuels intercepts a pass. They get another touchdown. And the Noles were off and running again. It felt like a different team for a stretch of this game.
Okay.
Okay,
sure, man. I'm with you. I'm on that bandwagon a little. Yeah, no.
I mean, compared to what we've seen so far.
For a long stretch there, it was the best they'd played all season. Again, you got to look at it through the prism of Wake Forest. You know, that defense is awful. But Cam Akers actually had a Cam Akers-like run, you know, where he showed the whole package with the cut and the vision and the speed and the breaking a tackle, which was nice. I just thought overall the Burns play I think was probably the biggest play in the game, because if they convert there and then all of a sudden you're looking at 13 or 17-0, you're like, oh man, they might get boat raced here at home. So for him to turn around and they go right back down the field, or get that sack and they go right back down the field and score, that's a big deal. And I thought the defense, once they stopped substituting like a Chinese fire drill, we can say that, right? There's nothing wrong with that phrase, is there? Once they stopped doing that, it's iffy. I don't know the origins of that phrase.
Probably not good.
Don't look it up. Don't Google it. Don't worry about it. But once they stopped substituting, man, the defense played awesome. They didn't do anything. And Wake Forest isn't a terrible offense, and they didn't do anything for the last 3 quarters of that game.
Yeah, no, it's encouraging. And look, it's like we've been saying for the last few weeks, you kind of have to grade this team on a curve because of what we saw in the first few weeks. I mean, this is a team that got blown out by Syracuse. So I think there were some other positives. DeAndre Francois started off a little bit slow, but he was really hot. I mean, I think he threw for 350 yards, 29 out of 40, I believe.
He also had a 60-yard touchdown taken away because of the hold. And I don't know what that referee was looking at, because Jawan Williams barely pulled his jersey.
I mean,
just barely grabbed it. I don't know what that dude's looking at.
But anyway, Florida State gets on the winning track going into Clemson. I think that's the other thing about this game that was big. It gets you to 4 wins, which gets you closer to bowl eligibility. And I think it also just kind of gives you some hope going into that Clemson game. If they had played poorly and just eked out a win, or certainly if they had lost against Wake Forest, this week would have felt like a death march going into Clemson.
Yeah, and it might still feel that way for some of you. I get it, because Clemson's really good, and in the last 2 games have beaten the teams, I think, combined like 110-10. So they've been playing really well with that kid at quarterback, and that defensive front is obviously going to be the best that Florida State's faced. They don't have much of a chance of winning that game, but they have a chance. And I think what you should, again, for the fourth game in a row, they've played better. They've improved upon the week before. I thought this was their best game of the season. I thought the Miami game was the best game of the season. I thought Louisville's was their best game. So they keep making positive steps. They're going to have to play by far their best game of the season to even have a chance next Saturday. But, I guess stranger things have happened. Certainly stranger things have happened in the world of sports than Florida State beating Clemson. But, I think just you want to see another step. And we'll talk about that game, obviously, in the week ahead. But you want to see another step, another positive step. Win or lose, you want them to compete. You want them to play well on both sides of the ball, maybe block someone. I think, and they didn't give up a sack today. And I thought, when you talk about DeAndre Francois, he held on to the ball a little bit too long a couple of times, but by and large he got rid of the ball quickly. And he moved out of the pocket. I thought Willie Taggart even talked about that after in the postgame press conference, that he did a good job of getting rid of the ball quick. He's got to do better. He's got to do better with that. It's not all on him. It's not all on the offensive line, those sacks, and he did well, I thought.
The other thing is, I think that when you look at the numbers, it's impressive what they did to some degree, but they're also left a lot of points on the board. I mean, Keith Gavin has a long play that's going to go for a touchdown.
Yeah.
He gets stripped as he's going in for the end zone. As you said, there was a 60-yard play called back. DeAndre missed a couple throws. He missed a couple guys that were pretty wide open, or receivers didn't run exactly the right routes. I mean, you do feel like there are signs that this offense is starting to come around. I guess the last thing I would just talk about is Cam Akers. You're writing a column about Cam Akers, and you touched on it earlier. But that has to make people feel good. We have not seen that Cam Akers. He had the 180-yard run earlier this season.
Right.
But that was against, was that Stanford game? Or
it was Virginia Tech, man. Get it right.
Oh, it was a Virginia Tech game, but he didn't score.
No, and then they went to the diamond package.
But it's been a long time since he had that run.
Yes.
And so, just that has to give people some confidence, I think, going forward.
Yeah, since that run, he had been averaging 3 yards a carry. His longest run since the Virginia Tech run was, I think, 17 yards. he'd had maybe 4 runs of 10-plus yards. So for him on back-to-back plays to have a 17-yarder and then a 58-yarder where it looked like the Cam Akers, man, he's a special dude. He's a good running back. He didn't just miracle 50 yards last year. He's really good. And it was the same offensive line. It was, I guess it was a little better. They had a couple guys they don't have now, but by and large, it was the same offensive line. He hasn't looked like himself. And I think even that glimpse should, like you said, should give Florida State fans hope. Oh, yeah, it's in there. It's in there. He can be a difference maker. And heaven knows he's going to have to be over the next 5 games because what they got coming up is not going to be fun. He's got to play. He's got to be more of that guy. He's got to make those runs. As Jimbo used to say, you can't coach all the yards. Some of it has to be God-given ability. He's got to turn those 9-yard runs into 50-yard runs. He just has to.
Last thing, did you enjoy T-Pain or Big Boy better?
Yeah, I think I like Big Boy better. I didn't like that they kept shouting Duval in the middle from stage. That was odd. I don't know where they think they are, where they thought they were, but they are not in Duval County. So
Leon County.
Yeah, Leon.
Stay connected to warchant.com for complete coverage of the game. Corey's column. I've got a story about the defense. Aslan's got some cool video stuff coming up. Video highlights, all kinds of stuff.
You won't
check out
believe it.
warchant.com. Duval.